Welcome back to That's All, folks. Nice to be in front of your beautiful face again for our second episode together, and hopefully many, many more to come. Guys, if my voice is slightly at a lower register today, it's because I just got back from a 10-day Vipassana silent meditation retreat, so I'm feeling a little bit zen today. But I won't get into it because this podcast, it's not about that. Maggie, how are you doing?
I'm great. Obviously, sat opposite you and with Bella Roberts.
Hello, thank you for having me on. Really
Thanks.
excited to be here.
Thanks for being here, Bella. You are a colorist, you are an editor, you are a content creator, you're a producer, a director. You just do a lot of things. So can you just
Yeah,
walk us through the everyday life of Bella Roberts?
yeah, definitely. I'd say I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of none at the moment. But predominantly editor. I would say I'm a editor in the social media world. I do content creation online, and yeah, I'm currently a editorial trainee for scripted film and TV. So yeah, that's my official title, as you call it. Yeah.
Nice, that's exciting. But you don't start until September 2024 officially,
Yes.
right?
So this coming September 16th is when I start my editorial trainee on a Netflix show, which I'm really excited.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's incredible. I mean, so from what I understand, you started doing content creating, so vlogging when you were quite young, about 13,
Yeah.
and that's how it all started. So it'd be so interesting to understand, what got you from there to Netflix.
I mean, wow. I mean, when I was 13, I guess I'm just like any other 13-year-old, just wanting to have a hobby, do something creative. And my brother, I was always inspired by him because he was always the photographer of the family. He always had the cameras. And I always wanted to try that. So when I was about 13, I used my phone. It was like a really bad phone at the time. But I made some videos on it, just posted it to YouTube. And I used iMovie to edit it. Actually, I think it was like the Windows Movie Maker, actually. It was like that far back, actually.
So old school.
Very,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
old
yeah.
school.
I
And I
know.
actually, weirdly, I started posting on Facebook first, just my own private Facebook account. And they were like most terrible edits. I look at them now. I remember I did like some stop motion Harry Potter animation where I had these like Harry Potter Lego and I would like take pictures and make stop animation. I even made a full Sweeney Todd rendition just with Lego. And I put a performance out for my family and I made little chairs in the living room and we used to come in. I'd like make these little tickets. You had to come in and it was almost like a theatre show. And yeah, so I transitioned from Facebook to posting on YouTube. And then I was doing YouTube for about 5 years, and honestly, it was just for my friends and family, and it never got anywhere really. Like within the 5 years, I got maybe 1K subscribers, and then I had this idea when I left uni to like start making videos again because I had this craving, like I missed it, because I had a break between YouTube and short form, and then yeah, I started posting short form, and then my friend, shout out to her, she was like, "You should download TikTok." And I had this kind of idea in my head already what TikTok was. I thought it was like this app where like people were dancing, and I was like, this is kind of a cringe app. I'm not going to download it. But I did it anyway, and I posted like a few videos, and then like one of the videos I posted just blew up. And that was the first time out of like Facebook, YouTube, that I've ever had like a viral video before. I remember it reached like 200K in like one day. And
What year was that?
that was like November 2022.
Oh, wow.
That's when I started, and that's
Very
kind of when
recent.
I posted the video. I think it was like more October time, but it was around that time. And yeah, it blew up, and I realized, wow, like actually people are watching. Because like from all my years of making videos, no one watched my videos other than my friends and family. And all of a sudden, I had this one video. It's getting loads of comments, loads of likes, and it was kind of overwhelming. Like if you ever have a viral video, it goes like, you feel like it sounds weird, but like you just feel like everyone's watching you. And then I had this pressure of like, oh, okay, actually people are actually noticing, so I'm gonna continue making videos. I posted on Instagram and TikTok, and yeah, it's been growing ever since, and I love it. It's really good fun.
So exciting. So were your videos even from when you started, like with, Windows Movie Maker and Facebook posts, were they always about editing, or was it how did they start and where did they end up? What are they predominantly about now versus then?
Definitely. Do you mean like the content or
Yeah.
like? No, my Facebook videos were like, come with me to Chessington World of Adventures, or like those Lego animation stuff, or there's one video of me just like on that. Have you ever, when you were a kid, have you ever had that thing where it's like that bull riding machine at like a fun fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like there was a video of my friends going on it. I would have filmed them, but like, haha, like, and then watching them fall off, and then
And
just,
that would be your video.
yeah, and it was like not even edited or anything. And then I obviously got the editing apps and iMovie and all of that. And then I don't know do you know the app iMovie, where like you can make those trailers and you would just fill the clip. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, exactly. I know
You
what
would
you're
make
talking
the
about.
trailers and you would just fill the clips in with the different trailers. And I would, there was this one trailer that I made. It was a horror trailer, and it was about hair. And it's so weird. But like I would get all my siblings, and like my sister had really long hair, and she put it in front of her face like a moustache, and was like the hair monster or something. And then I made it one about a hamster. We had a hamster, and it sadly passed away. But at the time when we had the hamster, like I made it about like Spider-Man, and then another one. It was just so many random trailers. I put it on Facebook. They're still up there to this day, although it's private now soon.
I was
None of you
gonna
guys
say,
can watch it
I'm
because
finding
it's
those.
so cringe. I can't even watch those videos. But I love it because I get this question all the time, like, Bella, like, how did you get like your skills of editing? And I'm like, guys, you need to look at some of my original stuff to know that my editing was terrible when I started. It was so bad. Like, I've learnt these skills over, since the age of 13, like over 7 years. So it just goes to show, like, I don't think anyone's born with a talent. I mean, everyone has to learn no matter who you are. I just think some people are more adapt to certain skills than other people. And for me, it just happens to be editing.
What was the aha moment? Like, when did you figure out that, okay, editing is what I want to do? Because being in this industry, both of us, we see so many other people being drawn to it because they see the end result. And the end result always looks glamorous and fantastic. And, we were saying earlier, a lot of people don't understand how much goes into creating those 10 seconds that are very, very polished. And the majority of the people you speak with don't tend to say, I want to be an editor when I grow up. So when did that click for you?
I definitely loved editing growing up, but it was never, I never was like, yeah, I want to be an editor when I started. It was only when I was in university did I discover that, like, I really wanted to be an editor. Because I originally went into film school being like, I want to be a director.
As we all do.
Yeah, as anyone who goes to film school,
Everyone wants to.
everyone comes in being like, yeah, I want to be a director.
I mean, have you met someone who goes to film school who's like, I want to be a boom operator?
Yeah, no one does it.
But
Yeah.
God bless every boom operator out
Yes,
there, because
shout
they are
out to
doing the
them.
most difficult job. Like holding a boom,
Yeah,
that
I
requires a lot of
I
strength.
could not do that. My arms
Yeah.
would be weak like chickens.
Yeah, same. I mean, look
But
at this. This is
I've got no
terrible.
muscles.
Nothing.
Definitely not. But yeah, during university, I was like, I want to direct and do all of this. And at the end of our first year, we had to make our own short film, and we had £300 as our budget. 300 quid to make a short film, which
What?
is nothing.
That's like
It's-
Pizza Hut.
Yes, it's literally no money.
That's lunch.
And I wrote this script, and I was like, yep, I'm going to direct it. And oh my days, I still have like low-key like trauma from that project because it was so, I still haven't edited it to this day. So we had a budget of £300, which, if you know, filmmaking is literally nothing to make a short film. But I made it work, and like I filmed the thing. I directed it, but just everything that could have gone wrong kind of went wrong. Like the DP pulled out because like he was sick or something, and no one really knew what they were doing. I mean, we were first year film students. No one knows what they're doing in first year. And I just remember coming home being like feeling so stressed, not feeling prepared, just kind of everything went wrong. And then from that was literally like my catalyst to be like, I never want to direct again. I never want to do this ever again. And I thought, if this is this stressful on a £300 shoot, I cannot imagine on a multi-million-pound shoot what the stress level would be like. And I was like, I don't need that in my life. I don't need grey hairs when I'm 20. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, see you later. And from that moment on, because I was already directing, editing, basically. So I was just like, cut out the directing part and just focused on editing. And then by second year, by our final year, yeah, I was like, hey guys, I would introduce people, be like, hi, I'm an editor, nice to meet you, da-da-da. Obviously, I'm not an editor like now. It takes a long time to become an editor. But during uni, I was like the editor that people could come to if they needed their stuff edited.
Well, that's actually interesting that you say that, you say you consider yourself not an editor, whereas I consider you an editor. I mean, I've seen the stuff that you've edited. You've are a wonderful editor. You've worked on multiple projects. You're about to start working for a Netflix show. So for me, you're an editor. But I get what you're saying because, I also have trouble sometimes saying I'm an actor when I'm not working on set, And I think a lot of artists can sort of resonate with what you're saying because this industry is project based. So when you're not on a project, you almost feel like you can't actually own up to your identity or the job that you portray yourself as because you're not working on a project right then and there. So yeah, I completely resonate with that. But I mean, you're an incredible editor, and I would definitely consider you an editor, even if you're not working on a project at this moment in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
I also think that people push this whole imposter syndrome thing on us as well, whereas some of us, I think, need to have a certain amount of achievements under their belt to be able to call themselves an editor or a writer or a director or an actor. But if you're doing it in whatever capacity that it is, you are that, right? So it doesn't matter if you haven't won an Oscar or an Emmy or whatever, Golden Globe, whatever it might be. You are an actor, you are an editor, you are a director, you are a writer. Even if you've done pub theaters or your own productions, whatever it might be. So I think as artists, we have to tell people what we are as well and be comfortable
100%.
with that.
I actually read a post on Instagram where I think it was Sandra Bullock that said this, that she, presented herself as a waitress for the longest time, even when she was a successful actress, because she couldn't hold that identity. She had imposter syndrome. And, I might be butchering that a little bit, but I think that was what the post was about. And I was like, wow, even someone like Sandra Bullock is saying something like that. But yeah, like, definitely agree. Like, we need to own our artistries, guys.
Yeah. No, it's really hard. Like, obviously I do social media. I think I am a social media editor. They could definitely say that. But in film and TV world, it's just so different. And the hierarchy is of such where, like, right now I'm a trainee, and, like, to be, like, going around to industry professionals being like, I'm an editor, they'll look at me like, who are you, like, basically. So I don't want, to go around and be like, yeah, guys, I'm an editor. I think, although editor's such a broad term, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like, everyone is an editor in their own right, if they're making videos online, all the way up to Hollywood movies. But I think from my position, if I'm talking professionally, no, I'm not an editor yet. Right. But I hope to one day. Right. Definitely.
But if someone were to be like, here's all of the footage and the sound from my project, can you edit this? Would you be able to do it?
Yeah, I'd be able to do that.
There we go.
Yeah, I guess I'm an indie film editor.
Okay.
But an actual scripted film and TV world, I'm still a trainee.
So with the film and TV scripted world, can you tell us a little bit more about what you're about to dive into, or is that a bit hush-hush?
No, I'm not going to say on this podcast.
Okay.
Or else, my post-producer will come for me.
Fair enough.
Shout out to her.
Fair enough. We'll swerve into something
else.
No.
Better diff out that one, yeah.
So fair. No, let's talk about you being a runner, because that's how you started, isn't it?
Yeah. What do you want to know?
How was that like?
And by the way, I've done that as well on a couple of sets, big, small. So
yeah, I think production, and I think a lot of people get mixed up. Like, there's production runners and there's post-production runners. Post-production runners is like literally all you do is just stay inside a building for like 8 hours a day, and you're serving the people that are editing at the post house. And like I think being a runner on set is much more exciting because you get to like see things and like get to talk to a lot of people. But when you're a runner in a post house, it's almost like, yeah, you're kind of confined within that space, and like you can't really go into people's rooms and like ask them loads of questions because they're working. So yeah, I was a post house runner, and I work with some really lovely people, and we're all just at the same level, like all just starting out, all wanting to get to different levels. Some wanting to act, some wanting to direct, some wanting to write. We're all different people, and I really enjoyed it. It was tough work, I can't lie. Like I don't shy away from the fact that it wasn't easy at times. Like especially when you don't see sunlight for like 8 hours a day, it kind of destroys a little bit of yourself. But the clients that I worked with were super lovely, and were always open to the questions that I asked them. I knew when they were working and not to disturb them, and I knew when they were open to ask questions. And whenever I asked, "Oh, hey, do you have an hour? Can I come sit with you?" They would never say no. So, I think I think being a runner is all about your attitude. I think if you go in there being like, "Yes, I'm really excited to learn. Like, I'm gonna take this as a learning opportunity," you'll have a great time. But if you go in there and be like, "Oh, I'm a runner, like this job sucks, like all I'm doing is making coffee and tea." And what's really interesting is like being an editor is like having really good attention to detail. You have to have really good attention to detail. And, that's like almost like being a runner. Like if you want to be an editor and you're working as a runner, treat it the same. Making a coffee and tea, you've got to have really good attention to detail. Be the best coffee and tea maker you can be. Because you give that to someone and they go, "Wow, that was a really great coffee and tea." It shows that you care. It shows that you've got that good attention to detail. And that's like all the skills you kind of need to be an editor. And I always found like the people who were editors that I talked to, who were runners when they started, they were always the nicest people. They always had the most respect for runners. And I think respect is it's not given out, it's earned. It's like if you respect someone, they'll respect you back. You do get some rude people, but like that's just life. It happens anywhere you go. And you just you don't mind those people, because what I always get is like if you're rude to wait staff, runners, the people on the bottom, it just shows a lot more about yourself than the people. And also you also got to think when people are runners, they're going to move up eventually. And I definitely don't forget a name or a face. If you were rude to me when I was a runner, you bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to remember you when I'm an editor, So
But the worst capture, like
it's like
when they're
image,
like they have like their
image
like
memory,
triple chin, and you're like, that's the shot, that's the close up.
Literally. But no, I was lucky in the fact that I didn't have a lot of that. But yeah, the team that I worked with, absolutely amazing. The manager that I had was the nicest guy ever. So yeah, I think it's all about your environment, your team that you work with. And if you come in there with a positive attitude, okay, you're making coffees and teas, you're cleaning, it's like kind of grueling work, but you know that hopefully it will get you somewhere. And for me, it did. I was a runner for like 2 months, and then now I'm working as a trainee in September. So it's all about attitude, getting yourself out there, and just knowing that, when you're a runner, whether you're working for 6 months, a year, eventually you'll get there. If you really try hard enough, you will. And I truly believe that.
I agree with you, and I think also, it's a very cutthroat industry, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize before they're in it. And it's like with most industries, most people started from the bottom, so they want to see you start from the bottom as well. So you can't come in with an ego. I did some post-production running, but I also did I was on sets, and you get a soda for one of the artists, you put a straw in it because she's got lipstick on, and she's thankful because she doesn't have to ruin her makeup. So I agree with you. It's remembering those little details, working really, really hard. And it's not glamorous work, but again, what we were saying before, the end product looks amazing, but the journey to get there is usually very grueling. So I think staying humble and working hard is super important.
Yeah, 100%. And learning to enjoy that journey as well. I mean, like, I feel like just in this world in general, it's so easy to just like go for gold and like put those like blinders on and not actually enjoy what's happening in the here and now in the moment as you're on that journey. And so even being a runner, like, yes, it's grueling, yes, it's tough, but it's like, how can you enjoy those moments? How can you enjoy making that tea in the morning, you know?
Yeah.
Because you might never make that tea again. Now I'm getting all philosophical. I want to go back to your, because I saw that you were a bursary winner for the BBC Comedy Collective, right? So can you tell us a little bit about that and what that gave to you and your experience?
Yeah, so I was part of the BBC Comedy Collective, part of their new scheme created by a guy called Gareth Hill. Shout out to him. And he basically made this scheme to allow more people with disabilities come into post-production. And I was really lucky. I had an interview and I got into it. And yeah, I was trained up by a place called Picture Shop. And so I was a runner there, and then I was a trainee edit assistant. And it was like my first experience being in the industry, and it was so great because I was having no luck to get into the industry because I came out of COVID and the strikes, and it was just like no work ever. And if you've got no experience, they're not going to hire you over someone who's had like 2-3 years experience. So yeah, I was really lucky, and the BBC have been so nice to me, you know. And Gareth is sort of like my mentor now, so he helps me and gives me loads of advice. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for him and the rest of the team for making that scheme, because I think it was the first of its kind of that particular scheme, because they do the BBC Comedy Collective every year, which you know, if you're interested, you can apply for. So they, for writers, directors, all different types of people, but they never done like a kind of access scheme for post before, as far as I believe. So I think we were like the first kind of guinea pigs of that. But yeah, it was really good, and because of that, I got to go to the BBC Comedy Festival in Glasgow.
Oh,
And
fun.
yeah, it was so nice. I got a hotel. They paid for my train up, like as
Nice.
part of like the bursary as well. And I met so many incredible people. I met people, and it was really cool because I met people who had like seen me off my social media, and they were like, "Oh, it's nice to meet you."
You
And
met fans.
yeah,
You met your fans.
but it was really weird because it was fans that I kind of looked up to in the fact that like they were, you know, top of their game,
That's
like
beautiful.
post producers, like directors and stuff. And I was like, wow, like this is insane that they're watching me, who I'm literally making running content. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
So yeah, it was a really great experience, and now I'm back. I'm still kind of on the scheme, and I'm still leaning on my mentor like for advice and stuff, and he's helping me like transition into this new job. But yeah, I've been so grateful, and I also got a bursary at the end of that. So just kind of putting that nice little nest egg until I need it, really. But yeah, super grateful for that scheme and the BBC as well. Shout out.
That's amazing. And it's so nice, I think, when you meet, like you said, when you meet your heroes and they're like, oh, I heard about something you did.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wow, that's
You're like,
awesome.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I still get shocked when people say hi to me on the street, because honestly, I consider myself just this person that makes videos online and not really kind of expecting anyone to watch them. Because I'm still in my mind like that kid, that 13-year-old kid who's making YouTube videos that like no one's gonna watch them. And so it's honestly, it makes my day. Every time someone stops and says hi, it's like the best feeling ever. It's amazing.
That is amazing. Because, I mean, you're teaching so much high quality stuff on these videos, and the way that you do it as well is so original and creative and fun, you know? So,
Yeah.
I just think it's incredible.
Thank you. Trying to get more people into post production and to keep, make it less gate kept. Because I think in the industry it's so gate kept for like no apparent reason. Like there's literally no reason for it to be that gate kept. So I'm just like, as much information as I'm allowed to say, I'm going to keep saying it because it will help other people. And I'm doing it because I knew that when I was in that position, I wished I had someone, like videos that I could watch online, especially like UK based, because there's not a lot of like UK creators that specifically talk about film and TV. At least from like I've seen, not, I know people do make content about film and TV in the UK, but like specifically about post production and specifically about like starting quite literally from the bottom and like making your way up, I think is really cool. And I I wish I had someone like that when I was younger. So I'm doing it now for all the generations to come, really.
But that's amazing. And I think also, it's so important to have people speak openly about these things and myth bust. I think myth busting storytelling, just stuttering now, myth busting storytelling is so important because it's a very opaque world. Not a lot is spoken about it. And again, I think people tend to, they go to film school because they want to be a director, because that's what they know. But if they knew about more things, it might be different. But we also heard that you're working on something with your brother at the moment.
Yeah.
The photographer, I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, my brother, he's like, he's amazing. He's a writer, he's a producer, he's a director. He's really talented and really smart, and he's good at writing. And so we collaborate. We've been collaborating since I was like 16. And I kind of got him into filmmaking, really, because I kind of forced him to act in one of my first short films. And since then, he's always been a cinema nerd. He always knows
but
everything.
Not an actor?
Yeah, not an actor. And you could ask him anything about cinema, and he would know the answer. But yeah, we just wrapped on our recent short film, Dressing Gown, and we were fundraising for our next short, which is called Warm Glass. And we're also currently this summer making a comedy sitcom, which we're hoping to pitch to some broadcasters.
Nice.
But yeah, I think we're trying to move into the kind of comedy space because I love comedy. That's kind of where I see myself going, like cutting comedy. And yeah, I'm super excited to make this sitcom. It's called Headquarters, and it's about two guys who are coming together to make a podcast. And
is it about us?
Yeah, it's about this. Yeah, I'm inspiring it on this.
This is research.
Yes, it's my research for this sitcom. Yeah, it's a comedy sitcom, and what's really cool is you're getting loads of different actors, just to like kind of play cameo roles. And they're going to play like the interviewees, and it's so many different characters. You've got some like dominatrix guy that comes in,
nice.
And some guy who you think is really normal, and then you see like, some kind of horrible memorabilia on his shelf. Yeah, I won't say the word, but you can kind of guess what I mean by that. And or like a woman who's just like sobbing uncontrollably. Wow. So there's loads of different characters, and it's a really fun script. And I'm super excited to cut it, and we're gonna shoot it for like $1,000. Like we're trying to do it like dirt cheap. It's gonna be like a mockumentary style.
Oh, nice.
Kind of, I like to say like it's sort of inspired by like This Country. Have you seen that show on the BBC? No. It's a really good show. I definitely recommend it.
Okay.
But yeah, we're hoping just to like be like sort of like what's that team that like those two brothers that make stuff all together? What's the name?
They made
Coen
The Matrix.
Brothers?
The Coen Brothers,
Oh,
yeah.
no,
but we'll
different
be
one.
like the Coen siblings, I like
the
to say.
Coen siblings. Nice. We love that.
The Robert siblings. But yeah, we've always been a team, and I see us being a team like to the end of time.
That's what you should name your production company, the Robert Siblings.
The Robert
The
siblings.
Robert siblings.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we're trying to make a company and everything, and we've surrounded ourselves with super talented people. We've got like the best EPs, like the best lighting people, and it's just like it's basically like friends just making films. And our ethos is like we try and pay people like we like. Have you ever worked on a film where like, you've not been paid?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
All the time.
all the time. And so
I mean, at a certain point, you start saying no, but like when you're younger...
When you're younger, you're like, I
you're like,
take
yes,
everything,
yes.
take everything.
Yeah.
So our ethos is like, we try and pay everyone, even if it's a little bit. And we're hoping that like as our budgets increase, like we'll be able to pay people like properly.
Nice.
But yeah, it means a lot to us to have those people on board. And it means a lot to me to work with my brother. And yeah, we're just super excited, constantly making projects. And I'm going to be careful not to get myself burnt out with this new job starting, and also editing stuff on the side, and also doing social media and yada, yada, yada.
As you're speaking about all of it, I'm already exhausted.
I'm already like, oh, the heartburn's
this woman's
coming
doing
on.
all of it. But no, I think like you're so right. Creating your own, taking the team that your friends, using your family, and just combining your skills and creating your own content and making your own stuff it's the future. It's so important, and we can do it nowadays.
You need to do it. I mean, my biggest lesson is like, if people won't give you if people won't give you the opportunity, make that opportunity happen for yourself.
100%.
And that's why I preach so much, like making your own stuff. That's why I did social media, and that's through my social media I was able to land that Netflix job, because I basically was like, well, if you don't ask, you don't get. And I posted a video being like, look, I'm having no work and I want to get into scripted. Can anyone give me a job? And
You posted that on your
I
social
posted
media.
a video being like, can anyone give me a job?
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And so what was the process after? Did someone DM you? Can you talk us through that?
So I had, it was really interesting. I actually met the woman who passed on my details the other day. And she was like, just so you know, like, I was the anonymous person that sent on your video. And she was lovely, you know, and basically what happened is I posted that video, basically at my wit's end. I'd had a couple interviews, they'd failed, and I was just like, look, I've got nothing to lose. Like, I've got a platform, I'm super lucky for it. I might as well use it to my advantage. And was just like, hey, does anyone got work in scripted? So I was trying to get into scripted. And yeah, I had loads of emails, like, from loads of different people offering me work. A lot of it, unfortunately, was kind of unscripted, which is not where I wanted to go. And then I had this one email, which was like, hey, I got this opportunity in a scripted job. Do you want to have a meeting? And I was like, yes, click. And I had a meeting with the woman, the head of production, that day. And she was like, look, we're just going to give you the job, no questions asked. And I was like, I literally cried. Like, I cried after that meeting.
Wow.
And then I met the post-producer. She was lovely as well, and was like, hey, look, we're going to give you this job. Like, I was in your position when I started. Like, I know how it feels, and we just want to give you this opportunity. And I'm so grateful to everyone involved for, helping me get my first job. Like, it means so much. And I cried for, like, so many days afterwards.
But honestly, Bella, that is so inspiring to
Yeah.
hear. Because you did that. You put that out there. You made all of those videos. You asked, and if you don't ask, you won't get it most of the time. I mean, unless you're super lucky.
Yeah.
But I was going to say also, speaking of luck, because you mentioned luck, but at the same time, it's so much hard work that's gone in. So, your luck is always, preparation meets opportunity. So you have been working for a very long time. And even if some of that is under wraps on your private Facebook account, which I really want access to,
You gotta watch that. We gotta
to see the old school Bella work. You've worked so hard. So now that you've gotten to a point where, you're getting respect from people in the industry, they're noticing your skills, some luck was involved, but I think it's still speaking to your talent as well and your hard work.
I appreciate that. That's really nice.
Bella, I have a quick question about your editing.
Yes.
So I'm very curious, as an actor, and for hopefully all the actors that are listening to this podcast episode, when you get footage back, what is your favorite kind of acting scenes to get back, and what is the worst? What is the ones where you're like, oh no, I got to make this person look really good?
Oh man,
What are the
I
tips
could
and
tell you
tricks?
some horror stories, and I really hope the actors aren't listening to this.
Just tell us what you've seen.
You can change their names and you can change
but
their
what you've
everything.
Seen that you're like,
or
oh, that's
no
magic.
names.
This is magic.
Yeah, I
you know?
think definitely, I know it's cringe to say, but acting is reacting. A lot of the things I steal when I'm editing is reaction shots, and it's often really subtle things, like an actor moves their eyebrow up slightly, and what I do is I kind of steal their best reaction shots and place them wherever I want to. So it could be totally different to the scene and it's not really related to what they're saying, but their reaction was so good, I swap it around. So actually, if you're reacting and acting, it's I'm more likely going to cut to you because your expression tells so much more than your words. And for example, I heard of an editor who cut down a scene. It was so many words, but he just cut down a scene just to a single look, because he realized in the context of that scene, you didn't need all that dialogue. The example, the dialogue could be oh, come in, and then you cut back and the actor's face is okay, and I know you're listening, but I'm doing kind of a worried face. And then you already know that the context is, just from the reaction. I mean, bad. How long have we got, really?
We've got 5 minutes.
We've got 5 minutes. Okay, I'll quickly be quick. I've had actors who have had monologues and are straight up reading from their script.
Oh.
And their eye line is
Actually,
like straight, like just reading off the script, and their
my
eye
God.
line is not at the other person. So I have no choice but to stay on the other person because their eye line is looking at the floor.
Oh, no.
Not looking at the other actor.
That's not even the actor's fault. I feel like that must be like the director that.
No, like this actor didn't know their lines.
Oh, okay.
well.
Okay. Well,
I-
yeah,
I-
that's,
I won't
guess,
call shade. I won't call
guess
shade.
that's bad. No
I won't call
lines.
shade on this
Come
actor,
prepared.
and if you're listening, you know, it's all with love. But learn your lines, hon.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, actually, you're asking from an actor's perspective. So me being a director, you being an editor, I edit from time to time or I co-edit. But what would you tell a director? Like for me to bring something to you and for it to be as smooth as possible for you as an editor, what would you want me to do as a director?
I love like insert shots. Like, I think the main thing that a lot of directors struggle, well, at least from the student directors that I've worked with, who have all been amazing, by the way, but they get in their head so much about like having really artistic shots that they forget like the fundamentals of an edit. Like, I need a mid, I need a close, and I need a wide. And like once we got all those three covered, you can go away and have your adventurous shots. But if I don't have those simple shots to cut to, and you've just shot this really crazy dolly that like halfway through crashes on the floor, and that's the only shot I have, I don't have anything to cut to. So the more stuff you bring me, honestly, the better. But I think planning is so important, and just having those safety shots are really good for me, like your wides, your mids, your closes, because it's just useful to have to cut to if an actor forgets a line or the camera goes a bit crazy, rather than having all these crazy artistic shots. I mean, definitely when you're in the professional industry, having those crazy artistic shots probably well planned out and so they work. But when you've got very low budget, you know, we need those safety shots, especially continuity. Continuity is the biggest headache I deal with. And it's the same in the industry as well, because there's so many moving parts in a film set that you often forget about the little things of continuity. But I once was watching a shot, and this woman was wearing a glove in her left hand, on her left arm. It was like one of those gloves that go up to your elbow. And then in the next shot, she wasn't even wearing the glove anymore. And I was like, hun, how am I meant to cut to this? Because the glove is like, it's like reappearing. It's like, do you know what I mean?
ghost
It's like
glove.
magic show here. I might as well just change this to like Magic Mike, because it's constantly just moving around. And so those simple things like continuity is so important. And just having your artistic shots, I really like, because it gives it something fresh and new. But just make sure you have inserts and different shots that I can cut to, because it does save stuff when, otherwise the
fair
whole
enough.
thing's buggered.
Fair enough. Do we have time for one last question? One last question. I really want to know, because we've already touched upon what's next. You know, you're about to go into scripted, which is really incredible. You're working on this project with your brother, which I'm so excited to see. What is one piece of advice that you would give to young editors who are just starting out?
Cut as much as you can. Cut when you come home from school, cut when you are going to school. Cutting just all the time, practice. And if you haven't got the money to get Premiere Pro or Avid, DaVinci Resolve is totally free to use. I recommend using that and just practicing with that. But if you can, learn Avid as much as you can. I know there's a student subscription you can buy, which I think is about £90 a year, which is quite expensive if you're 16. And I remember back when I was 16, I'm thinking, 90 quid is quite a lot of money. But the sooner you learn Avid, the sooner, an easier time you will have. And you don't need to learn the whole software. It's just knowing the fundamentals, because if you most likely start like I am as a trainee, trainees aren't expected to know anything. So don't go into a trainee position being like, oh my gosh, I need to know everything, because people will learn you and they'll teach you from scratch, really. They almost like to mold you in their own way anyway. But just learning the fundamentals of Avid is really important. And or just even learning DaVinci, Premiere, Avid, it's kind of like your holy trinity of softwares, in my opinion anyway. I know I will get a lot of flack for that, being like, well, what about Final Cut? What about iMovie? I'll be like, shh, listen, just learn Avid and you'll be all right.
And also it's personal then, like once you learn the basics, like it's so personal what you choose, like, what camera, like make of camera you choose, what program you choose, what feels, what works best for you.
Yeah.
And I know that we're coming to the end, but I would also like to ask, because obviously us all being in this crazy industry and it's full on, it's constant. How do you balance everything? Because you do so much.
Honestly, I don't. It's like you're walking through fire every day. You know you're going to get burned, but you just keep going. But honestly, balancing is just, I like to do other things than editing. As much as I like to do it almost like a hobby outside of work as well. But, I like to see the sky. When you're stuck inside all day, you don't get to see the sky or the breeze in your skin.
Yeah.
I know editors who, just sometimes will literally stare at a white wall for 20 seconds just to give them something fresh to look at. So, yeah, I like to go out. I like to see friends. I like to hang out with family. Go bowling, although I'm a terrible bowler.
Me
Eat
too.
food, just your normal everyday things. But I think it's important to have hobbies outside of work, because otherwise you will just drown. And I've seen a lot of people drown from their work. And the film industry is so absorbing. Like, you feel like, the film industry is so absorbing. You feel like it's your life. But remember, you have a life outside of work. And I think in the industry, we are setting better boundaries now. Like, after 6 o'clock, we're like, right, we're going home. I'm going to go see my family now. And it's really nice to see, whereas the older editors would be like, no, we're working till midnight. But the newer generation of editors that are coming in are like having more respect with their boundaries, which I'm really excited to see.
And also, I mean, personally, I would say when you've sat editing for sometimes 10 plus hours, even if I'm the co-editor, you're not doing your best work at that point in time either.
no.
Your mind is not fresh.
Thank you so much, Bella.
Well,
This
thank
is
you for having
wonderful.
me. It's been really good to chat.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we can't wait to see what's coming out next. Really excited. It sounds amazing. Love this sitcom idea. I can't wait for it.
Yeah,
It's
so
going to be
excited.
exciting. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
Thanks for
So-
being on.
Yeah, that's all, folks. And we will see you next time.
We'll get better at that, I promise.
We're going to get
That was
better at
brilliant.
that. That
I
was
love-
so
I love
awkward.
that outro.
Well, thank you
Cool.
so much, Bella.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.